This is the best international union I've ever been a part of. They are blue-collar guys just like the rest of us. They'll get their hands dirty. They get right in there with us. You can make a phone call. You'll have an answer. You'll have somebody there. They support us 100%.
We as a union have to be flexible and adapt to the conditions of what our members are dealing with every day.
With what's going on in the national media today, people are getting the wrong impression and a distorted view of what the purpose of the union is. And often it's seen as a separate entity from the membership, when really what it is the membership.
We see it every day in our business that as a union, you know, we're going to people's houses and they're foreclosed on. Their families are put out because the economy is so poor. And for us as a local union, I think as a national union, I think they're working and striving to create jobs to help, you know, in cities like ours that are, you know, were massively affected by the economy and the downturn of everything that happened.
It makes me feel good to work every day knowing that I can rely on other people to help me to be safe.
With a union, you can go to the bargaining table with these people and say, listen, we don't really like this. You know, what can we do about this? You get to bargain.
One thing that you have to remember is that through the history of the unions, there is never a good time, there is never a convenient time for a strike.
September 11, 2001, people didn't realize who utility workers were. They heard a lot about the first responders, the fire department, the police department, EMS, so on and so forth. The utility workers were there right from the beginning. They had to shut off gas, shut off steam, shut off electric.
We're trying to stay ahead of the curve, trying to control as much of the emissions as we can, because we know you can't survive just solely on green energy. It does have to be a balance, and that's where we come into that balance on our end.
Nuclear generation is a huge part of our future going forward, and we have to have the ability to train those people to make them technically solid, to make them productive, to make them progressive, and to keep them in our backyard.
I'm going to be calling upon every one of you here and all the other members out there to strategize, to pull together, to do things at our regional conferences that we've never done before. We will put a strategy in place as how we move this union forward. Our goal is just what the theme says, building a brighter future and continuing to provide America's resources. It just don't get any better than that, does it, folks? This is what we're all about.
The UWUA will keep the national momentum of the 2006 election going strong in 2008 when we support a presidential candidate who supports issues important to working families, including one who supports critical legislative initiatives.
As you move forward in strengthening your organization and electing your new leadership and preparing for the struggles that you have ahead of you, please do it with trust, do it with honesty, and do it with the dignity that I've seen before me this morning as your guest.
The issue is not jobs, is it? I mean, slaves had jobs. The issue is wages. You know, you could go out here in Cincinnati to any bar or cafe and talk to a waitress and said, do you know George W. has created 4 million new jobs? And she'd say, yeah, I know, I have 3 of them.
The government also is putting pension at risk, taking again into consideration where they are allowing companies to basically rape the pension plans of hard-working Americans.
We've had many training programs before, and they pretty much turned out to be a wish list. This is unique, where we've actually brought money to the table, and if the union doesn't have an equal say, the money goes away. So it's the ultimate carrot and stick.
We had over 100 stewards participate in 3 days of training. That's pretty phenomenal, too. You know, I'm really pleased.
I'm proud of my union. It has given me the ability to raise my family and also help raise my grandchildren. I'm very proud of my union. And I have a standard of living where I can go on a vacation and enjoy myself. It's a very good union, but they've gave me the benefits. They worked hard for it, not the company.
We can't go back to the company store. That's where I grew up in a town like that, a coal mining town that the company store owned it all. You worked
for the company, you bought your clothes from their store, you used the company's money, which they actually made money that you would use that wasn't good anyplace else but the company store. We cannot afford to let that happen.
The membership is pretty well fed up with it. They've gotten tired of being told how bad the economy is. They've grown tired of watching the company profit all the while that they're being asked to give back, and it's starting to come to a head.
I think what happened in Wisconsin has woken everyone up, and I think now is the time when we will join together again and fight as one.
We're getting poorer, and that makes me mad, you know, because we deserve to have social justice, and we deserve to have a good life, just like they do.
It is my honor and privilege to welcome you to this 2010 Legislative Conference, and thank you for being here.
Your job this week is to try to tell us how to do our job. So never forget, you guys are the boss, right? You guys are the one that have the power to hire and fire your elected representatives every time there is an election at the ballot box. So your job is to come here and tell us what we need to do. And I want everybody on Capitol Hill to hear you guys loudly and clearly this week. You sent us here to do your bidding, and our job is to deliver on what you ask for.
The workers who will upgrade our grid, the workers who will run the new transmission lines from the electricity generating wind farms of the Plains to Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas, Denver. The workers will run the transmission lines from the solar generated powers of the deserts southwest of Phoenix and Vegas and LA. The workers who will weatherize homes nationwide, the workers who will maintain the carbon scrubbers and coal plants. They will all be members of this great union.
I know you've all come from great responsibilities in your local unions and in your workplaces and in your communities. On most Monday mornings, you and all the utility workers are on the job providing power to the American people so that we can run our factories and our offices and our stores and our schools and our homes. And today you're here in Washington to make plans to build more power.
Quite often people say, what the hell are the steel workers? And I imagine they say that to you. What the hell are the utility workers doing? Worrying about climate change. Let me tell you something. Having a diversified energy strategy that is going to reduce the carbon in the air is a jobs bill.
One of the most promising opportunities we have to create those jobs is in your industry, where you and your brothers and sisters provide those services, those skills, that tradesmanship that needs to be done. In the area of renewable energy technology and, as we call it, the green economy, that's the best opportunity for us to put a bunch of people back to work in a hurry.
I remember talking to you folks a long time before about green jobs, and people would look at me and say, what is a green job? Well, it's a blue-collar worker who has now transformed him or herself and has used the same skills that they used on the job, but now they're going into another field that will help reduce our dependency on foreign oil, foreign fossil fuels, and reduce our consumption of energy, which means we save dollars, which means more money goes into your pocketbook because we're able to hire up more people. And I can guarantee you that what I've seen in the last year, just in my own role of rolling out over $750 million through the Department of Labor, $500 million exclusively aimed at green-collar jobs, I can tell you I've seen a tremendous difference.
Things that we have gotten as benefits over the years, we've gotten, I feel, because we've negotiated for them. We've either given something up or we've made it good enough case that we finally get it.
Get to your local meetings. Bring your ideas. Don't be the guy that sits back and just argues and comments and the negativity on the side. Bring that to the table. If you have a problem, let's solve it.
Not long ago, I was in a union that had very little representation. They didn't really do much for their membership, and I lost my job because of it. And now I'm in a union that it backs their members, stands strong against the wind, and I believe that with that type of union leadership, we can bring back a lot of security to the American people.
We put together a defense fund and actually went out and talked to our members about taking a little bit of money out of their paycheck and pooling it together for a defense fund so that we would have the financial resources to take on a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
We have turned our heads long enough on enough issues that now we've got issues that have totally blown out of proportion because we act like we don't want to pay attention. So the National Union has chosen to pay attention to things that we need to, and I think the biggest thing that they say that I agree with is we've got to have a living wage.
It's time for us to recognize that we've got a long fight. We've got a long way to go, and it makes me work a little bit harder for that rep that I have to represent in a meeting, or when I come to a conference. It makes me listen just a little bit closer, so I have a better understanding of what I need to do.
Our union is very strong through strength and solidarity of our members. Our members give the National Union strength. We have 3,500 to 3,700 members nationwide in the UWUA just on the water local side. I think that with that strength and numbers and solidarity helps us to achieve a working living wage and good benefits.
If we didn't have the support of the National, I believe that this contract would have turned out totally different. So the support, not only from the visibility from the members seeing the National there, but the ability of the National to do the things that they could do that a local couldn't.
Without the unions, these corporations are proving it all around you that they're not going to spend dollars that they're not forced to spend.
I think that people are realizing that without the union, you're going to make low wages and low benefits, and I think they're getting tired of it, and they're willing to stand up to the company and reorganize or organize for the first time an energy company that was able to beat down their employees.
With the regional conferences, I'm able to obtain information to take back to my membership about how to handle arbitration cases, how to handle day-to-day grievances, and how sometimes to interact with my membership and how to engage them more and provide them more knowledge of what the unions can do for them.
One of the things we have is a funding that comes through the union, okay, which helps train younger workers, okay, so that we can create more full-time jobs.
As you can see, brothers and sisters, the world never slows down. Things are continuing to move, and that's why it's so important that we have meetings like this to discuss these issues, to look at them, to see what we need to do to prepare ourselves.
I know what you do. I know the difficulty in doing what you do and the safety risks in doing the type of work you do. I was only putting pencil to paper, far more safer than the work you do. So I have the utmost respect and admiration for the work you do every single day of your life.
Well, first thing we want to do is we want to modernize our nation's infrastructure, particularly the electrical grid. It's really the backbone of our whole energy supply and getting it out to the users. That's one of our first priorities. We want to put Americans back to work.
There has to be jobs created, not just in the electricity sector for emerging technologies, but in industry overall, so that the tax base that's required to support those fixed costs, healthcare, education, and the electricity system, is funded by people in the middle class such as ourselves.
Nuclear energy is green jobs. It is the largest source of non-emitting power generation in our country. Represents over 70% of the non-emitting generation. And we just have to communicate that. So let me real quickly give you just a little bit about what nuclear energy is today. It's 20% nearly of our power generation in the United States. But you know, when you ask people, how many nuclear plants do you think we have around the country? You know, some people will say 4 or 5 or maybe 10. We have 104 units here in our country operating cleanly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's a quarter of the units that are around the world.
We got about 5 million people that have lost their jobs, and we have a tremendous challenge before us to make sure that those people get unemployment insurance, that they be able to use some of that money to be able to get training if they need it, or if they had a job and maybe they were working with your union but got laid off, that they could come back and get more training. That's the kind of flexibility we want to see in the funding programs that we make available.
The Power for America Training Trust, that's what we're launching here. That's what we've created, a multi-employer training trust, so that we can make sure that our folks have the skills necessary. We like to pride ourselves on saying we're the most productive, highest skilled, safest workers in the world. And I think everybody in this room believes that and knows that because you are, right?
I just want to say this is a great program. I'm really glad for the union doing this, for especially the court. That's really grateful and thankful for them. And if anybody else wants to join it, it's a great thing to do. I mean, what more can you ask for? You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to get the word out there and make sure everyone can, get something to do for themselves too, because we all want to prosper in life.
The union was the one that put this program together. For us, especially us part-timers that, we don't work a lot of hours, we don't make a lot of money, and to be able to get this course for free, as he said, it's just a great opportunity.
I started going to the union meetings more once this class started because I wanted to find out more about it. In doing so, I found out a lot more information through the union, not just with this class, but with everything else with the company. So this class itself kind of bridged the gap between the union and the workers the ones that are really fiery about it and they're just new to the company.
We've spent the last few days here developing a diversity and inclusion program for our international union. And the problems that we are be looking at together and how we best can deal with them. I bring you fraternal greetings from all of the members and the officers of the IBEW. It's a pleasure to be here with Mike and Gary and all the members of your leadership team and with you, the delegates to this meeting. And I haven't had a chance to meet every one of you personally, but our unions are not strangers to one another. We've worked together on many issues and will continue to do so, especially now that the challenges, or maybe we should be real about what's going on and call them threats that are right in our face.
It's an honor to stand with one of the most effective and progressive unions in organized labor. It's a privilege to be joining you to address the issue that we in LA grapple with all the time. How to make sure that a great labor movement that we love and to which we have dedicated our lives continues to be a strong and viable force for progressive social change well into the future.
We are the working class, and I mean, for the most part, we pay the taxes that drive the country. The middle class does. And without that group, you don't have a very good tax base. And that's what everybody needs to understand. You need to support this middle group, and by us being more active in legislation and getting politicians that will support our cause, it's going to make everything better for everybody, really.
What we're getting today through our renewed political activism, our involvement in areas that traditionally we have not been involved in, is a renewed enthusiasm with our membership and an opportunity to really affect those things that are affecting the average American's daily life. We're finding out that we're understanding what those keys are and really beginning to change the conversation.
If we don't get politically active, if our members don't donate to the right campaigns, don't spend their money and time time is just as much valuable as money, volunteer for the folks that need that, support working men and women, we'll be doing a disservice to the union and the folks that put us where we're at today, the standard of living that give us today.
If you don't vote, you don't really have a say. But to do your research and to get involved to a point to where you're not just knowledgeable about who's running for the office, but you're influencing their decision-making process is what it's really all about.
If you want to be successful, any successful campaign with this union or any union, you have to be involved in legislation being passed, and you have to hit the ground running for candidates that are supportive of your cause, which is a living wage, unionism. You can't sit back and wait, and then point the finger later. You have to get involved.
The operators that are here are Class A licensed operators through the state of Missouri. We're required to maintain that license by 30 credit hours every 3 years of college. So, you know, we're pretty excited about what we do and provide the best quality of water in the nation.
I think that we're building an organization that is for the membership and revolves around the membership.
I'm always trying to get more women involved. I just increased our recruiting committee by 2 women. I'm always trying to get more women educated with more knowledge, because to me, knowledge is power. And if we can empower these women with knowledge, then they can go forward and feel confident in what they're going to be able to do.
Safety to me is knowing that I will be able to work my whole career and watch my workmates retire with their health. And that's important to me. More so than the monetary values is that we are safe and that we do our job for the length of our career safely. And that to me makes me proud.
You really have to focus your efforts, and when somebody's faced, you know, with adversity, which unions across the country are faced with, you have to step up and refocus what you're doing together, and that brings people together.
What we've done here is created a Young Workers Committee. We've brought in 15 people from around the country. And our goal is to have them meet periodically to discuss all of these things that we just said. On how do we build that capacity? How do we give them the training that they need to become activists, and to become activists in their communities, in their unions, in their households, and explain to people what union means, and to become organizers, and to become the leadership of this union.
First of all, I just want to say I want to thank President Langford for choosing me to chair this group. This is something I'm very excited about and something I'm very passionate about. It's all about getting the youth more active in the union, because I think part of being a progressive and a forward-thinking union, you have to be responsible. And part of that responsibility is knowing that the fight has to continue after you're gone. You know, so as a union, we have the responsibility of cultivating the youth.
Morning, Ryan Zito. I'm out of Akron, Ohio, First Energy. I'm the secretary of my local. Been involved, started out as executive board officer about 4 years ago, and last year I got elected to the secretary position. It's kind of a family thing for us. My brother's the treasurer of our local. My dad was the president of the local, retired last year. He was president there for 31 years. Passion for it, so.
My name is Andrea Fontenot. I'm with Local 132 in Southern California. I work for Southern California Gas Company. I've been with this union for about 12 years. I work in the call center, and I'm the head shop steward there, and I'm also the chair of our safety committee.
Clint Carson, I'm from the Pittsburgh area, Local 102G. I am our health and safety officer for our union. I work for Allegheny Power. We got another guy from Allegheny Power here as well. Like Ryan, my father was the vice president of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union, so I'm here to do my best, and I want to get as deep as I can into it to keep this thing going.
Well, brother, we're going to keep you busy. You can count on that.
Ashley Medina, Local 127 out of Wyoming. I don't have a current position. I've been e-board, executive board steward. I really feel strongly about this whole youth movement and just the labor movement in America, period. And I'm excited to do the work. So.
I'm Brandon Hess, Local 102M. I from the Pittsburgh area, work for Allegheny Energy as an SO2B operator in one of their generation plants.
Matt Maffioni, Local 369 Boston, underground splicer for NSTAR Electric. I'm involved with the Massachusetts AFL-CIO Futures Committee, also involved with our Locals Futures Committee and our COPE Committee.
I'm George Wazelenko, Chicago, Illinois, Local 18007, People's Energy, and proud to be here.
Hi, I'm Courtney Pecky with AFL-CIO, and I'm working on the AFL-CIO's Youth Initiative.
Hi, I'm Millie Valentine from Local 1 and 2 out of New York. I'm a shop steward, an organizer, and a financial observer, and I'm proud to be here also.
This is our future, brothers and sisters. This is where we got to go. Let's go. Let's give them a real welcome to the UWUA and our future.
We, as younger workers in the union, need to take all the good gems that these older guys have to learn how to continuously make this machine run very smoothly. So there's no kinks in it where we don't stall out. We keep right on plugging along. And as we keep going, we get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger.
I'm ready to do my part and making sure that the labor movement is steady, strong, and grows even more than it is today.
You don't want to be part of an organization that sits there and lets things happen. You want to be part of something that is progressive and makes the world change around them instead of letting the world change what's going on. So I'm very proud of it. I'm very excited to be part of this organization and part of this new committee. It's really exciting, I think.
When I go back to talk to my members, I'm going to tell them I listened to about 15 young people, tell how committed they were to the union movement, how they wanted to make a difference, how I'd like to see some folks from our union feel the same way.
I feel excited about the new focus on the young, teaching them what the union is all about and how it started and why our brothers fought literally for our right to be safe and to get a piece of that pie that we deserve so much.
I'm a part of something special. I'm a part of something important, and I think we're headed in the right direction. And I think it's a great time to be a member of the UWUA.
We have the ability to make change through collective bargaining and being outspoken in the workplace, but workers as a whole don't really have that as at-will employees.
As members of any national, any local union, whatever it is, we are there for each other. Come hell or high water. Come hell or high water. And that's where we have got to continue this fight.
You support your union and do everything you can for this union, because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't provide for your families.